Ever long for everything my God promised, and so much more than amazing, more than marvelous, more miraculous could ever be. He's more than wonderful. More than wonderful. That's what Jesus is to me. He promised us that he would be a counselor, a mighty God and a Prince of Peace. He promised us that he would be a father.
Hello. Welcome to Carrier of His Presence broadcast. My name is Elder Jesse Darrow, and I am co-founder with my husband of Dunamis Evangelistic Outreach. We are located in the R&W Chapel on Wisner, near Stewart in Flint, Michigan. Our services are held from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Sunday morning. Dunamis only meets on Sundays, and we are a teaching, training ministry. It is not your traditional ministry. We are perfecting a people unto God, preparing His bride for our Lord's second coming. So if you're in the area, we do appreciate you stopping by, coming in, learning the ways of the Lord, and enjoying the fellowship that we have. For the next several months, my topic is going to be on restoring the image of Christ. There will be many subtopics, but my main topic will be restoring the image of Christ. And what other way is there to restore His image than for us to revisit some of the information that we need to know about the love of God? Think about it. If someone was to ask you as a Christian, what does the love of God mean? You may get various answers, but are you able to actually explain to someone what the love of God is? That's what I'd like to talk about today. There are many social situations that are plaguing America. Many situations that is very disturbing, the violence that we see. I believe if people really understood the love of God, that the violence we see would wane. Our children are going into schools, and there's so much hatred and bitterness in the hearts of our young children. So what I'd like to do is share with you today and explain to you the different types of love that hopefully will be a benefit to you individually and will also be something that you can explain to your children. Too many people think of God's love in terms of human emotions or human expression. But do not be deceived. God's love is not pity, infatuation, passion, obsession, nor sex. Since so many people are doing perplexing and destructive things in the name of love, I think it is time for the church, the bride of Jesus Christ, to take a newer look at what love really is. I know I'm not the only one concerned about many of our young girls who are allowing their standards to be lowered because they seek love in the wrong places. Or many of our young men who are afraid of committed love and choose instead to make as many booty calls as they can and not take responsibility for their seed. Christians are entering into relationships without a clear understanding of God's love, and the relationships are not lasting. Paul the Apostle made a profound statement when he said that we could speak with the tongues of angels and of men, but if we have not love, we become as sounding brass and clinging cymbals. In other words, we are just making a lot of non-rhythmic noises. As a result of not showing the love of God, the non-rhythmic noises we hear are sounding loud. So many people have been betrayed in the name of love. But betrayal and love are contradictions. Did Judas love Jesus? We say we love, yet would betray someone. That is not a clear understanding of what love is. When we observe the broken marriages and divided families, it is obvious that a true understanding of God's kind of love has lost its true definition, and now humans and self-indulgences are defining what love really is. Hopefully you're wondering how something as selfless as God's love is has been lost in the church. The ones who are carriers of God's presence. Jesus forewarned us in Matthew 24 that in the last days the heart of many would wax cold. But a cold heart towards love is an indication that a disruption has taken place in the life of a believer. And that disruption is with their God, because God is love. I am often reminded of King David's reckless decision with Bathsheba. A man who loved God, wrote many of the Psalms we enjoy today, stood boldly and fought against the enemies of Israel many times. But somehow this mighty man of God who understood the principles of covenant lost focus on the fruit of Christian integrity, which is the love of God. The judgment upon King David for taking another man's wife and being instrumental in his death was costly, and his iniquities visited even his children's children. When reading Psalm 51, there is no doubt in my mind, if King David had the opportunity to undo his decision, he would have. I have often wondered what happened to King David's heart that he actually thought he would be able to conceal adultery, conspiracy, and murder without any consequences. Jeremiah the prophet warned us that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Since we know King David fell and the heart can be deceitful, it would behoove us to be cautious and to continually consider our ways of showing God's love. We have, as the church, have been given a tremendous responsibility. And that responsibility is to exemplify the love of God wherever we go, in spite of. The Greek language is very colorful in giving a clear explanation of love. It offers 4 different words that best explains the different kinds of love. There is storge, or parental love. There is philia, or brotherly love. There is eros, romantic or sexual love. And then there is agape, God's kind of love. But is storge, philia, or eros sufficient enough to hold marriages and families together in healthy and effective ways? I think it's so important that people understand marriages will produce, healthy marriages will produce healthy families. Healthy families produce healthy churches. Healthy churches produce healthy communities. And so the love of God is so important to produce healthy families and healthy marriages. The key word is healthy and effective, because families can live under the same roof, but there is no guarantee that their ways will be effective, and there's no guarantee that their ways will be healthy. Storge, or parental love, is, of course, very important. But think about the parents, Isaac and Rebekah, who had 2 sons. Isaac favored their son Esau, and Rebekah favored their son Jacob. The favoritism shown by those parents caused division in the home. That one example shows us that even though parental love is good, it is not necessarily healthy or effective. The second Greek word for love is philia, or brotherly love. Joseph, the son of Jacob, is a good example of how limited brotherly love is. Joseph's father, Jacob, must have learned favoritism from his parents because he showed favoritism to Joseph, which naturally caused his brothers to dislike him. When the opportunity avails itself, the brothers sold Joseph into slavery for 20 pieces of silver. So, even though brotherly love is good, it is not necessarily healthy or effective. The third Greek word for love is eros, and King Solomon is a good example of sexual or romantic love. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 women in his concubine. All of that strange flesh caused Solomon to turn his heart away from the true God. He began to serve idol gods, and his fleshly indulgences drew him into an apostate condition. After years of choosing his own way, of eating, drinking, and being merry, after years of falling away from the faith, turning his heart away from God,